Hey guys, it's Just Nerds here with another video, and this time it is about Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and we have someone special here again.
It's me, Elijah, back from death.
Elijah is alive, because didn't I say that you were dead? Or like I said rest in peace, something like that?
It's something like that, but Blake made that whole video that
yeah.
looked like a
That's
video
right.
play at a funeral.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter, I didn't say you were dead, I made it very emotional, made it seem like you were dead.
Yeah.
But then I tried to clarify that you were not dead.
I wasn't dead, I was in Idaho.
Which is the same thing.
Which is limbo.
Oh boy. So we just came out of Batman v Superman in the theater, and so far it's been a very divisive movie. Everybody has differing opinions on it.
So we thought we'd give ours. Yeah.
Yes, so we're going to start this off with non-spoilers, but then we're going to get into spoilers, but we will tell you when. So when we get to that, you can skip it and not get spoiled, hopefully, even though the trailer kind of spoils a lot already. So first, I think the easiest thing is to talk about the performances, the new casting for a lot of the characters. First up, Ben Affleck.
I thought Ben Affleck was really good.
Yeah, I thought he was the best part of the movie, actually.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Batman was the best part of the movie. I thought he gave a very solid performance. I think a lot of people were scared after the whole Daredevil thing, but that was a whole different.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of other problems in that. But yeah, he gave a very gritty performance, like you would expect from a Batman based off of Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely the darkest Batman that we've had so far, even though Batman's usually dark.
And they didn't jumping into it. Everyone knows everything about Batman already, so it definitely felt like that. You jumped into an established character already. They didn't go into his personal life a whole lot. You already know everything about it. It was Batman had a mission from the start, and he carried out the whole movie.
You kind of understand he's like more of a dark and gritty Batman, but that's established right away, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real question on who this Batman is. Like, it's very fast. I thought Ben Affleck did a great job doing that.
He plays, for those of you who don't know, he plays a Batman 20 years in the crime-fighting business. So he's seen everything, he's done everything, and he mentions that. And you can see in his performance, Ben Affleck's performance, that he's just done with a lot of things.
Yeah, other than Batman, I thought he did a good Bruce Wayne, because there is a scene where he's like being like a detective doing some work behind the scenes, and then somebody catches him, and he acts like he's drunk, or like, he's trying to go to the bathroom, and that was really played off really well. Like, oh yeah, he definitely has that dual persona.
You don't really see the actual Bruce Wayne a whole lot, but there are hints.
Yeah.
Like, he notices a girl while he's talking to Clark Kent. In that trailer, you saw him talking during that conversation. He goes, "Old habits die hard." Or you see him, like John that said, there's a scene where someone catches him doing detective work, and he plays it off as being enigmatic and crazy.
Yeah, so Ben Affleck, our favorite part of the movie. To me, so far, we're gonna see him more, but I think so far, he's the coolest Batman that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I would agree. I think. Oh, we're from a different generation, so we weren't there for the 1980s Batman. So maybe someone would say Michael Keaton was the best Batman, or something like that. But I would say I liked Christian Bale, but his Batman was sort of gimmicky with that whole voice thing he does. And those movies, I felt like they were better, really good movies, but watching them, you don't get a whole lot of comic book superhero feel with it. But with this one, you sort of feel it. You feel
like it's more comic book Batman.
Yeah.
And then Gal Gadot I think it's Gadot, as Wonder Woman.
I think she did a really good job. She didn't have it was a sort of big part, but she wasn't in the movie a whole lot up until the end. That's when she shows up. But yeah, I thought she was good.
Yeah, I also agree. Not much to work with, just because she wasn't in it a lot. But so far, they established this Wonder Woman also pretty well. That she's existed since the 1940s, 1920s, probably 1920s, I think. And that she's been around a long time. That she's a warrior. That she's fought a lot of.
That might be a spoiler.
A lot of people. Is it?
I don't think people knew that going into the movie.
Whatever.
Just title. She comes in. She didn't. Again, we didn't see a whole lot of her, but I think they made her into a character that isn't cheesy. That they brought her into this darker universe that they have, which I thought was very cool. I thought they did a very good job of that.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see more of her, like, in her own solo movie. But so far, I think she has established her Wonder Woman pretty well. And I'm hopeful for what she does in her actual movie. That should be pretty cool. But let's get into the biggest divisive thing for the casting. Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg.
I'll say this: he was very dedicated to the role.
Mm-hmm.
I thought him as an actor, his actual acting, I think he did good. But the character, I don't know if it was his choice to do the character as that or it was someone else's choice. But they try to give off, I don't know, that sort of Heath Ledger Joker kind of feel where he's sort of crazy and
yeah, he was kind of playing the Joker a bit.
Yeah.
Huh? Like, not as insane, but definitely, like, the quirk. Like, he had a lot of quirks.
Yeah, the quirky kind of... Even the speech pattern, he has a lot of, like the whole...
Yeah, what did you say he did all the time?
So, one thing I noticed is, whenever he makes an interesting point to himself, he sort of goes, ah.
Ah. I didn't notice that.
He goes, or oh, so like he just impressed himself, sort of. And I don't know. When you first meet him, when I first met him, I was like, oh, okay. And then in the middle part where he's sort of turning evil or developing into a darker, more sinister character, I liked him then. And then Jonathan laughed at this end scene that he did where he was over the top. Well, I would say that was the thing. Jesse Eisenberg sort of goes over the top. He gives 100%, and maybe that was a little too much.
Yeah, like just all the monologues he has to other characters, like explaining stuff. I don't know, like the line. Maybe it's the way that the character was written. Maybe I don't know the way he just did it, but it was super wacky and over the top, and I don't know, it was weird. I couldn't really take him that seriously because he was just so weird.
When it comes to playing a character like that, what Heath Ledger did, he was quirky, but it was sort of like a subtle thing, where like he would talk, but he wouldn't make a big deal out of being wacky or crazy or stuff like that. He was just himself. But with Lex Luthor, it was like they're like, all right, let's do that, but let's make his quirkiness real.
Yeah, which is weird because Lex Luthor isn't even like that. Like he's more, tough because he's one of the strongest men like on Earth. It's really weird.
Which I was fine with. I was fine. They cast Jesse Eisenberg. I'm fine with mixing up the characters, but I felt he could have toned it down a little. It's fine to have him be sort of that like mad scientist sort of thing they were going for with him, but he doesn't need to be that crazy, that sort of weird.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this Lex Luthor. Yeah, he did try his best. He obviously put his all into the performance, but I just didn't care for this Lex Luthor. Some of the things he did was pretty cool, like setting certain things up. But like when he would try to act menacing, I don't know, I didn't buy it.
The actual character was weird, but the things he set into motion, his
drive. I guess?
No, but what's the word? Gosh darn. Pretty much, he was a worthy villain in that he made it tough for them. Not like he was a good villain, like he played the part, but like he was a good villain that he made it difficult for them to win. He put up a good fight. That's what I will say. His plan, I thought, was very smart, even though it was convoluted at times. Like you're not sure what was going on the whole time, or it was sort of like. I would say that. It was a pretty simple plan. Like, you were able to catch on, but there's just so much happening around it that you couldn't focus on it. But I thought him as a villain, he did a good job in beating them up. But I don't know about the character. I don't know if it was written like that or it was a choice by Jesse Eisenberg, but I thought he was a little weird.
Yes. I didn't really care for that much. But I guess the last casting is Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I thought he was really cool in this movie.
Yeah, I liked hipster Alfred.
Hipster.
It was pretty much hipster Alfred.
Well, he wasn't hipster like Suther. Like he was really skilled in everything he did. Like he was a mechanic.
I meant hipster, like he dressed like a hipster and he looked like a hipster.
I guess. Well, he was wearing like a vest and everything.
He was wearing, but not like Butler uniform, like fancy vests,
Like
leather
suit.
jackets.
He wasn't wearing a leather
Yeah,
jacket.
he had a leather jacket.
He was not wearing a leather
Or
jacket.
not a leather jacket. Yeah, when he was sitting down during the thing, he has a leather jacket on. He looked like a hipster. That's all.
I don't think so.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think so. I think it was like suit apparel. I think that's what
It was not normal Alfred attire.
Not the normal Alfred attire. Okay, I could get that.
But I thought he was good. I thought he
'cause-
was probably the only funny character.
Yeah,
The movie isn't a funny movie. It's
a very dark movie.
There
but
aren't a lot of jokes.
yeah,
I
Alfred
think
was the
Alfred
funniest
makes
part.
all the jokes, and one other person makes a joke. I forgot who.
It was
No, it was a Batman and Superman when Wonder Woman shows up, but they show that in the trailer. That was the only joke you get.
yeah, but Jeremy Irons was really cool. It was weird how skilled they made him because
He's
he
been doing it
made
for-
the suit.
He's been doing it for 20 years, so
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm sure he's picked up a few things.
Yeah. So I think that's all the casting, right? All the big casting.
Well, we didn't do Henry Cavill.
Well, he was Superman last time. Well, yeah, I guess we can still talk about it. I think he's still doing a pretty good Superman.
They didn't give him a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, he does pretty well. You can tell he has something good to offer for the role, but it's just, in this movie, they didn't really expand on his character a lot.
I sort of think it's like they don't trust him. Like they don't trust Henry to give off a good performance because they don't give him a lot.
Do you think it's him or like just
No,
Superman
I
in
think
general?
something like that. But the way they write just seems like they play it real safe with his dialogue and just his acting in general. It's sort of like they don't put any risks. Like it was pretty much a Man of Steel again. He has a good bit of dialogue, but he doesn't have the most dialogue. And even then, it's just he plays Superman very tight jawed and sort of just he doesn't. They don't give him enough to show his range in acting wise.
I think that was also one of my problems because in Man of Steel, to kind of establish, he's a new Superman. He's getting into the role, and that's what we hope for Man of Steel 2, that they would expand on that and see how he's growing. But in this, they didn't really do that.
Yeah.
They gave him like one scene or one or two scenes where he's thinking about like, what's my role? But then they just move on to like Batman and other stuff.
Yeah, they give him that whole thing where it's like, they sort of give each character a story, and in this movie, not a lot of stories are finished or tied up in the end.
Like they present him, but they don't finish
like
it.
Superman. Exactly, they presented this dilemma of him being, who am I? Am I, some sort of savior, or just a man? And you never find out the answer. He never comes to an answer in the movie.
Yeah, because by the end, I didn't feel like he was different. Like I didn't feel like from the beginning of, or even from the end of Man of Steel, I didn't feel like he was different. I didn't feel like he really had a character arc.
And it wasn't like Batman, like he's an established character. You're not going to see a whole lot of character. There was some sort of character development, the relationship between Batman and Superman. But other than that, he was an established character. Here it was like they didn't even try to grow Superman in any way.
That's what was really weird.
Even though he's only been a hero for like 2 years, he hasn't really learned anything.
Was that the gap between Man of Steel and
18 months.
Oh, okay. Did it say that in the beginning? Oh, yeah, you're right. It did. I forgot about that. And then, so I guess, what's next? Just the tone? The tone really is very dark.
Oh, there's also Amy Adams. Again, she
does
did a good job. That's about it.
She does a good job as well. Yeah, she does a good job as Lois Lane. It's not much. She had a leather jacket. Which is really weird.
They're all hipsters in this movie.
Yeah, that's how because Lois Lane had the jacket. Like, she a hipster right now?
Well, so Superman, it's modern day superheroes, so they're all going to be dressed as stylish hipsters.
I feel like Lois Lane though, they can't really push that.
I guess. Anyways, the tone, or what were we talking about?
Well, tone's just dark.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something to say.
That's one thing. I know a lot of reviewers have been commenting saying this tone's been real dark and there wasn't a single joke. They wanted a Marvel movie essentially, and this isn't that.
Yeah, it's very different. Pretty much, if you didn't like the tone of Man of Steel, it's pretty much that, but a little darker too.
The thing is, with the Dark Knight series, those were dark toned,
Yeah.
which worked well. But this one, it's just
I think they really push it though.
Yeah.
The dark tone in this one. Because they could have done R, but they didn't do R. But you can see traces of that.
They're doing a R cut, a director's cut. Yeah, it's real dark. Well, you know this from just the trailers. You can tell from the trailers and what they released, saying, it's based off The Dark Knight Returns, which isn't a funny comic. It isn't like...
I feel like kids would get scared watching this movie.
It is. It's scary. It's, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman's real grumpy and just ready to bash heads, and Superman and Batman fight, and it's not funny. It's a lot of fun, but it's not funny.
I think what makes it kind of weird is when they try to make jokes, it comes off kind of forced. Except for like Alfred, because I think he did a lot of good comedic timing.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, I think it's kind of weird when they try jokes, because it just comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't really try a lot of jokes.
They tried some though, but I think like the some that they tried were kind of weird. Like the whole Wonder Woman joke, like, oh, I thought she was with you, that kind of thing. That was kind of weird. Even though it makes sense.
Yeah. It's dark. Don't expect a laugh. You can laugh a couple times. Don't expect.
You can laugh.
Don't expect a Marvel movie.
Laugh at Lex Luthor. Didn't do that.
Yeah. Laugh at Lex Luthor and his ridiculous performance.
So I guess before spoilers, so did you think that this movie was overcrowded?
No, I don't think it was overcrowded. I think it was busy.
Yeah, it was definitely busy.
Overcrowded in that the characters... I didn't think the characters were crowded. I thought the storylines did. Mm-hmm. I felt like the writers tried too much.
Yeah, because the way they did the cameos... Because we know that Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash was supposed to be in this movie. And you kind of think, they're all going to show up at the end and fight Doomsday. Because they show like the poster and everything. Yeah. But no, the way they did it was really well done.
Yeah, it was a... are we doing spoilers right now?
Oh, we're going to do it like in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't overcrowded. I know a lot of people thought about it. You knew Doomsday was going to be in it, but no, it was just busy storytelling, I would say.
It was overcrowded in like the content that was in the movie, because pretty much you had like different like 4 or 5 different movies in this one movie.
It's one of those things where they try to do this thing sort of like what Heroes did in the television days. Each character had their own storyline. It was leading them to a certain point where they were all going to meet. This one, it was like Batman sort of, his storyline was, take down Superman, find out this thing and go after Superman. We'll get it later with that. And he sort of completes his because he gets to fight Superman, which is his main goal along. But then you have all these other stories where they sort of get halfway, a third into it, and then they just skip right to the meeting point where they don't get to finish their story.
Yeah, it's like you said, they start a lot of stories, but they don't really, finish it right. Because we talked about this earlier, but there are a lot of plot points that they establish, like, we're gonna be doing this, but then they kind of speed it up until the very end, like the climax, like, because they have the Man of Steel sequel, showing like the aftermath of Metropolis and his role, Batman and his detective work, trying to do stuff. Lois Lane, she has her own detective work. Lex Luthor, trying to bring out his plan, and Wonder Woman, like her story, even though there wasn't that much of it. Yeah. But there's at least like 4 different stories going on at the same time in this 2.5-hour movie.
That, and you get all these dreams or hallucinations that Batman is having.
That was weird.
And then there's another part of the movie, which we'll talk about in the spoilers, that just was like, what? What does that even have to do with anything?
Yeah, so you could see that they were trying to put a lot in this one movie so they could try to get to Justice League. Yeah. So you could kind of see that they were trying to... Because you could see, like, kind of what Marvel did, except Marvel did it in a few movies. Yeah. But they tried to do it in this one movie, which is really odd. Because it was a lot of the same stuff that they did, like world building, establishing stories, except they did it all in one 2.5-hour movie, which is really strange to see.
Yeah. Want to get into spoilers now?
Yeah. So overall, we liked the movie.
Yeah, I thought the critics that are criticizing it too hard, it's it's not as bad as people are saying. It's good fun. I didn't have high expectations for it going in.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't think it was going to be this great movie. I thought it was going to be a fun movie, and I thought it was going to set up a lot of stuff that might make good movies. And that's sort of what happened.
They set up a lot that will make good movies.
Yeah. So
yes, I feel the same way. There are definitely flaws because just they tried so much in this movie, but it was a fun time. Like I didn't come out the movie saying, "Oh, that was terrible. I wasted my money." Like it was a fun movie that I enjoyed. So yeah, that's like our main thoughts that are non-spoilerish. So if you haven't seen the movie, haven't seen the movie, then don't continue on from this point because we are going to start our spoiler talk right now.
Oh, and one more thing. Going into this movie, don't expect the characters you know and love. Superman's not going to be the one in the comics where he's a Boy Scout. He's at a point where he's going to do things where like, oh, I didn't know Superman does that kind of stuff. And Batman's going to be a lot darker and not going to be the Batman that has a lot of morals and rules that he can't break.
These are very different interpretations of the characters, which we'll get into right now because we'll start the spoiler talk. I guess first off, like the most jarring thing is that Superman kills in this movie.
He does. Even though they don't want to admit it, they kept saying he's not a killer. But they might not be dead, but pretty much he throws a guy through a bunch of walls. Like he picks him up and flies him through a bunch of walls.
Yeah, because at the end of Man of Steel, he snaps Zod's neck to protect the world. But it's kind of established in a way that, he had to do it, like he felt grief about it, but this will be like the moment that defines him, that he won't kill anymore, because he'll remember this moment. But then, like,
in this one,
like 10 minutes in,
he feels grief, but it's not about killing Zod, it's about all those other people that's killed. He doesn't kill. He doesn't have a no-kill policy, pretty much.
Yeah, just like 10 minutes in, a guy has a gun to Lois, and you're like, he can laser vision the gun, he can, just use his speed and fly and get him so he doesn't have to hurt Lois, but no, he just straight up just crashing through a wall.
He runs at the guy and flies him through a bunch of walls.
Yeah, like, even though he could have done other stuff.
Yeah. And another thing is Batman kills in this movie.
Yeah.
Batman kills a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah, right.
He kills a lot of people. Which, from the comic books Dark Knight Returns where he doesn't care. He's just, I'm done. But I will say this, the fighting in the other Batman movies is, just kick, punch. This one, he's bashing people's heads against walls, throwing people through the ground, their heads.
Remember, he like punches a guy at the ground and he snaps his neck.
Yeah. And then, he punches a guy and the guy's head goes through the floorboards and he's just sticking up out of it. And then to another guy, he gets his arm and breaks it in half. And
Wait, did he really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the part, though, when he just went through the wall and just attacked that one guy.
Yeah, this Batman, it's sort of this thing. It's like, I know I said it wasn't like the comic books and that, but in his fighting style, it's like the comic books where it's brutal and you can see the fear. They established the whole fear
He's
thing.
really skilled in this.
Yeah, he's the fight scenes take a long time to get to, but they're some of the best Batman fight scenes probably ever.
Yeah,
but
it reminded me so much of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Arkham games.
You can see the fear that Batman uses in the games and the comics and stuff like that, which I didn't think they've done before. Where it, like in the Dark Knight trilogy, it was just like Batman's a really good fighter and he shows up and he kicks a lot of butt. But this one, it was scary. He was like beating the crud out of people, beating the crap out of people, and
he was huge. Too.
Yeah, he was big. Ben Affleck's a big guy. He's like 6 foot, but Ben Affleck got real big for this movie.
I didn't maybe it's just been a while since I've seen Man of Steel, but I noticed that when Clark goes to like the courtroom to do that whole thing, that guy is ripped. Oh my gosh! I was just thinking, this man is huge.
Yeah, but the fight scenes are really good in this movie. It's violent. Not violent like bloody, but like
they're very brutal.
Yeah, Batman blows people up with his Batmobile.
Yeah.
he throws people through walls. He not flies, but breaks through walls and grabs people. But it was awesome.
And speaking of fights, the whole Batman v Superman fights, it was interesting.
Another thing, yeah. Again, Batman was real brutal. It was interesting, but pretty much the whole fight, Batman won the fight. I would say.
Yeah.
He kicked Superman's butt.
But couldn't you also say it was because he was like holding back a bit?
What happens is, the spoiler is, Superman needs Batman's help to save Superman's mom because Lex Luthor takes his mom and gives Superman the ultimatum of killing Batman to save his mom or letting her die. And so he goes and he's trying to ask for Batman's help, but Batman won't listen to him and just kicks the crap out of him.
Yeah, and I thought, but that whole motivation, because we discussed it like probably like half an hour ago, that was really weird because I was thinking, oh, how are they, like, what's the thing that's going to be to make them fight? Like, and then I thought, oh, is Superman going to actually try to kill Batman to save his mom? Like, he wouldn't do that. But he doesn't. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But Batman's motivation, I thought, was kind of weird.
Batman's motivation is real petty. It sort of sets it up where it's like, oh, Batman's worried about Superman destroying the whole world. But, you know, the only thing he mentions is he can destroy the world. He can do this. He doesn't mention the fact that he destroyed Metropolis or that.
Yeah, it was pretty much...
Or a situation where Superman sort of set up for the blame in Africa where a bunch of people died. But Batman doesn't mention any of that. His whole thing is he's a threat and I need to kill him. It sort of seems like Batman just wants to fight him.
Yeah, because Alfred like actually tells him, like, Superman's not our enemy. Like, why do you want to do this? And Batman says, well, even if there's a 1% chance that he could be our enemy, we gotta, take advantage of that. And you kind of think, but why? Because he's supposed to be, like more comic book Batman, be smart. He's a detective, as we see. And Superman obviously saved Metropolis from Zod, even though, caused a lot of destruction, which they kind of look at. But wouldn't Batman realize that he's a good guy and he's not trying to hurt people? Yeah. But, like, I understand the motivation, but I just feel like it's kind of weak. Like, it could easily break down, which it kind of does.
And that whole thing gets resolved very quickly when Superman mentions that his mom, whose name is
Martha,
weird. Like Martha Wayne, and Batman stops and says, "I'll save your mom." And then
Clark is trying to tell him, like, "Hey, help me out," but then when he says his mom's name, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's," and Lois says, "Oh, that's Clark's mom's name." He's like, "Oh," and then he just stops.
Yeah,
which is so I feel like the beginning of the fight was kind of weird, and then the way it ended was just like, what? Like, why is he stopping?
The reason why they fight and the reason why they stop fighting is very weak, but the fight is...
Yeah, the fight is awesome.
It is awesome. And then from there, we should mention that several things happen up to this point that are sort of weird. You get to see the Flash in a vision or a dream, or maybe it was reality.
So what happens is, Bruce Wayne is waiting for the decryption
of a file,
which
leads to another thing we'll talk about.
Yeah, so he kind of falls asleep, and then he wakes up, and this portal shows up with lightning all around.
He wakes up from a dream, that sort of vision thing where you see flying insect people in the trailers. He wakes up from that, which again doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess it's saying that people are going to come from the sky, and Superman's going to destroy the whole world, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he wakes up, and then he sees the Flash in a suit of armor. And the Flash says...
And the visor raises up, and you see that it's the Flash.
And he's pretty much like Bruce, it's not too late. Kind of warning him about the future. And he tells that Lois Lane is the key to everything. And he says that you were right about everything with Superman. And I guess maybe that contributed to it.
Yeah.
The fact that this person...
Well, we don't even know if it really happened. Because right after that, which hints that they're going to do the Injustice storyline.
Yeah.
Where the alternate universe of sort of Superman takes over because Lois gets killed and he goes crazy and polices the whole world. But it's sort of, but right after that happens, it shows Bruce waking up from a dream in the same exact spot that he sat in.
Yeah, so you could see it as that contributed to his suspicion of Superman, but it's also like, well,
it feels very misplaced. It's just
how would he know that was real or not?
If I would say it was crowded, it's just because of that moment. Because that's like the only moment that feels
came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, it sort of feels like they were like, here's some Flash fan service.
Yeah, Yeah, it feels like it could easily be taken out, or maybe it was taken out, or maybe no. I feel like it was put in randomly
Yeah.
because he wakes up to a second dream, then he wakes up again. You feel like they put in that scene right there.
And maybe that's a leading up to the Justice League movie, but it just didn't. It felt weird watching it.
Yeah, like you feel like they like at some point they just put in that scene randomly, like for leading up to Injustice.
And speaking of Justice League, the thing he was decrypting that he fell asleep at, and that sequence takes place, is a file where he opens it up and he sees that Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. That she's not some regular person. There's a picture of her from 1918 fighting, I think, World War One.
Yeah, with Chris Pine as Steve Trevor.
Oh, with Chris Pine in it.
Yeah.
Yep, he's in it, and he's in the picture, and it shows him. And you also see 3 logos next to it. It's called the Metahuman Project, and you see 3 logos next to it. Which, when Wonder Woman opens them up later in the movie, you see videos of the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman.
Which I thought was actually a really good scene.
I thought that was a very smart way of introducing the characters and not just throwing them in a movie.
Yeah, because we heard for months that we're putting in Aquaman. Oh, well, we're also putting in Cyborg and Flash. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I kind of thought at the very end they were gonna come together because they did show the poster with like all the heroes. Like, oh no, but no, it was just a video showing that they exist, but we didn't see them except for Flash. We didn't see them in action.
Which Ezra Miller it's a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
For Flash, because they show him and he's not like, he just looks like a normal person, and they didn't dye his hair blonde or lighten up. He has a very dark hair and a long ponytail, really long hair.
Yeah, which Elijah mentioned that if he's Barry Allen, which I think we can assume. Yeah. It's kind of weird that he's like that because he's supposed to be a forensic scientist with like a very healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So we'll have to wait until the actual Flash movie.
I don't know if he's like a college student Barry Allen or they're just making him a slob sort of guy. Yeah. Or maybe he was just in his pajamas going for a late night milk run.
So he also kind of looked like a hipster too. Yeah. But
it's modern day. And
then the scene though when he saved the guy, it was like a lightning coming when he did super speed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. Pretty much, he takes a milk bottle out of the convenience store freezer section. A guy holds a gun to the store clerk. Yeah, you see side-by-side images of it. Yeah, lets go of the milk, stops the guy, and then runs back before the milk even hits the ground. Mm-hmm. And that was very cool. And then you see Cyber. I keep wanting to say Cyberman. Cyborg, who is Victor Stone. His backstory is pretty much he was in an axe. He was a baseball player. His dad worked for a high school baseball player. His dad worked for a lab. Yeah. And he's in this accident, and his body is completely torn apart. And you see his dad working on him, and he's sort of on this wall with tubes coming in and out of him, and it's just his upper half of his torso, half an arm, one half arm, and that's his head, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then Aquaman is just in the sea, destroys a camera, and flies off like really fast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but Cyborg's is you see the motherboard. I think that's what it's called. It's this big metal cube, and it pretty much attaches to him, and it creates a metal body around him.
Yeah, and
then,
so just sorry.
And then Aquaman there's drones. They fly in, and Aquaman sees them. He sort of looks at it, and you get a really good look at him. It looks really cool. Stabs one of the drones with his Triton, and then he swims off at a really fast speed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so just like the small looks that we got, the characters, they look actually really cool. So I'm kind of excited to see them, because at first people weren't feeling Jason Momoa. They thought it looked kind of weird.
I thought he looked really cool in that picture.
Yeah, but Ezra Miller, I like Ezra Miller. I was like, that's an interesting choice.
I like Ezra Miller, but it was an interesting choice.
But just from the small looks we've seen, I'm pretty excited to see these new characters. And I just like the way that whole scene was done, because even Wonder Woman, who is an Amazon princess, she was like, oh my gosh, these kind of people exist.
And they mentioned that at the end of the movie, where we'll get to that. So when Wonder Woman opens those files, Superman and Batman have stopped fighting, and Lex Luthor unleashes Doomsday. And Doomsday's wreaking havoc, and she's getting on a plane, and she sees what's going on, and she rushes over to help them. And
First, what did you think of Doomsday design?
There's sort of two designs. There's one, the first time you see him, where it's sort of weird. He just comes out as a cocoon and he looks weird. Yeah, he sort of looks like an ogre.
Yeah, he looks like an orc from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, orcs from
It's weird.
And then
my bad.
And then they fight, and Superman takes him up into space. He was trying to punch him away, and the U.S. launches a nuke at them, and pretty much Superman and Doomsday get hit by a nuke. Superman stays in space where he gets killed by the sun, and Doomsday falls to Earth. And when he falls to Earth, his skin starts peeling, and he peels it off, and you sort of get that Doomsday look where he has like the rocks or the bones.
Yeah, but
coming
they're
at him.
it's very small though.
Yeah,
they're not very big like the comics. But I think I'm pretty sure that's the design we already saw in the trailer.
Did we?
Yeah, like I think the final look, which is really odd, because the scene where he goes down the building and he shows up, he has that second form already, and that was the one in the trailer.
Okay. Well, honestly, there was so much happening that you couldn't really pay attention to his whole look. Like there was a lot of flying around, hitting. But the look you can't really be bothered by the look because you see it when he first comes out, and then when he peels his skin off, and then it's just.
It's not terrible. I think it looks fine. Mm-hmm. Like it's fine because Doomsday isn't even in it for that much. Yeah. He's just in this movie, and then he dies. So it's not even a big deal. He's in it for a little bit. So I think the design is fine for what Doomsday was meant to do in the movie. Coming to the Doomsday part at the end of Doomsday when he dies, it's the other comic book they draw inspiration from. Yeah, so it's not just Injustice and Dark Knight Returns.
It's also Death of Superman, where Superman stabs Doomsday with a kryptonite spear that Batman made to kill Superman with, and Doomsday gets his arm cut off, and bones or sharp whatever, I think pretty sure bones are growing and sort of make this giant knife, and he stabs Superman through the heart, and Superman dies.
And the whole time Elijah was like, he's not gonna die, guys. He's still alive.
Yeah, I looked at John. I was like, he's not gonna die. And then he got stabbed. And like, oh, he's gonna come back.
Which I'm just super like, I was shocked because we knew it was Dark Knight Returns. It was based off that, and then Injustice. I thought, like, really, they're doing okay, but they're just like leading up to it. So
and when they did the Death of Superman in the movie, it was like they were taking scenes straight out of the comic book. Like, it was very similar.
Yeah, because the scene where Superman brings Doomsday to space, I just thought, oh, it's just like an homage to that. I don't think they're actually going to kill him, but then they do, which is super weird. And this is the second movie, and they're already doing Death of Superman. Yeah, which I think is still the problem.
Which I don't know what's going to happen in the other movies, but right now it's just sort of like Superman didn't need to die.
Yeah. Which I guess is the problem because already in the second movie they did Doomsday, so they can't do him again because we know he's dead.
And then it's like, he's dead and I don't think he's coming back. And then it's like, well, who are they going to fight in the Justice League movie? Are they going to fight Darkseid? Or are they going to...
Yeah, but I think they will, but then... Who are they going to do after that?
Yeah, who's going to be in the Man of Steel movies? Lex Luthor coming back, but who else? Like, who else is there?
Yeah, they kind of thrown a lot in this movie already because just the fact that they did Death of Superman, they can't do that later on. Yeah. I think the problem is because, as we said before, this isn't an established Superman, so killing him off, I didn't really care. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't who cares? Well, we know he's coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing. They did it so early, and they already have a Justice League movie that there was no sense of urgency. There wasn't like...
Yeah, exactly.
Is he dead for real? It's just like, oh, he's coming back. Let's wait till the end of the movie. And what happens, they put him in the ground, and there's dirt on his coffin, and then the dirt rises up like he's moving.
Yeah, because... Yeah, when he dies, you don't feel any urgency. Like, oh, shoot, like, this is a big moment because you know... These heroes still have to get together.
If it would have been, Man of Steel 2 or, like, the end of the second Justice League movie or something like that, it's like, oh.
Like, oh, shit, like, Death of Superman, that is awesome. But no, they just, like, threw it in at the end. It's like, oh. Well, he's coming back for Justice League, obviously.
And then it's like, what's going to happen with Justice League? Is he going to come halfway through the movie? Is it going to just be, like, this whole thing where it's like, oh, Superman's alive in the beginning of the movie? Is he going to be alive when the movie starts? It's just like... How is this going to play in? Because you didn't need to kill him off.
Yeah.
If he's just going to come back.
Yeah, I think that was other than there's quite a few things that were weird decisions, but I think that was one of the worst decisions to do.
Yeah.
Just throwing Death of Superman at the second movie.
I guess this doesn't really mean anything because they were probably going to do it anyways. But Batman looks at Wonder Woman and goes, "We need to do right. I didn't do right by him in life. He didn't give him the credit he deserved. He didn't realize that Superman was a good guy," which he was pretty much saying.
But
And then he goes, "Let's do right by him in death by getting to all the people like you and him together and they're going to pretty much saying, let's go form the Justice League." But it was like, you could have done that with Superman. You didn't need to kill him off. There was no purpose in killing him off.
Yeah, I was also thinking it's weird because basically Batman and Wonder Woman are going to establish everything. So, so where is Superman going to fit? But I also thought when he said that, Batman says, I didn't do right by him. I didn't really buy it because, they knew each other they fought together for, 10 minutes? They weren't really friends at all. That's the point.
I guess he just feels guilty in that he spent most of his time hating the guy and then he dies. But it wasn't you didn't need... They didn't
even have a moment where, they reconciled and were like, oh, yeah, I believe in what you're doing.
And I guess that's what played into him being I didn't do right by him life. Superman died without Batman, apologizing or making it up to him anyway. But he didn't need to kill him because it's not gonna, it doesn't look like it's not going to do anything for the story.
Because I thought at the end...
Batman's already had his share of regrets.
I thought at the end it would be Superman and Batman, reconciling, we're buddies, we're mates.
And then they try to make it even sadder by revealing that he was going to propose to Lois Lane, and just he's going to come out of the ground in a week or two.
And then I thought, this is the second movie, and we're already getting to, they're going to get married. This relationship, we haven't seen them together enough to care.
Even in this movie, you only get 2 scenes where they're at home together. One scene
it's 2 scenes. The third one is when he goes to die. He's like, "Oh, I love you," but then we find out he was going to propose. And I'm thinking, we've hardly seen them together. I don't care.
And the whole time I was like, "Oh, they're going to bring him back to life." But even if you're oh man, this is an established Superman. What if they just kill him off right here? Even though there's a Man of Steel 2 movie coming out, they hint at that he's coming back with the Dirt Rising, and she's like, I knew that already. You didn't need to hint at it. You didn't need to kill him off. You didn't need to do anything. We know he's not dying. Yeah, so
in this one, they already did Doomsday, they already did Death of Superman, and they already did the wedding, or not wedding, but we know they're getting married.
They did. So in this movie they had they hinted at the Injustice storyline, so we're probably gonna get an Injustice movie. We got Dark Knight Returns. We got Death of Superman.
I don't know. It's so odd that they put all these parts together in one movie.
I feel as though they need to come up with an original, not an original story, but another story, because we've had the Injustice game, we've had Flashpoint, we've had all these movies or TV shows that go into that storyline. We already know what it is. Even in this movie, I was watching, I was like, oh, I know this is going to happen. This happens. Oh.
Yeah.
And then they're fighting him Superman's going to die, isn't he? This is Death of Superman when they start showing it, and he dies.
Yeah. Because they said it was inspired by Dark Knight Returns, which you can see it wasn't just strictly following the story, because that's a very different story. Yeah. So I was thinking, it's inspired, but it's its own story. Except it was taking its story from other stories.
But if they do an Injustice storyline, it's you sort of get what's going to happen already. It's just I think they need to either just take the idea of time travel or different universe, multiverse sort of thing, and just take the idea and come up with another story, or just do something original, because this movie I sort of knew what was going to happen when I started noticing the similarities between animated movies or the TV show or comics and stuff like that. It was just I get it. We get it.
Yeah, so...
I will say, though, if you're a fan of them, if you're just a Batman or Superman fan, you're going to have a really good time, because it's really cool. Especially the last half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I remember. We also mentioned this, but just because of all the stories they put together, it's kind of weird. But then also just we said the build-up was really, really slow to the fight. Because, the last half hour is amazing, great action, but the build-up, all the start to these stories that don't really finish, and like it's a very complicated plan from Lex Luthor. All these different threads that don't really go anywhere. I don't know. It's very weird.
For example, Lois Lane is trying to uncover Lex Luthor, and she finally uncovers Lex Luthor, and like, yeah, now she's gonna go and tell someone. She gets kidnapped, and then Superman dies, and that's the end of her story.
Yeah,
like, she finds out she finally finds out the plan, and then gets kidnapped, and there's no resolution.
Yeah, like it doesn't really, in the long run, it doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't matter because you sort of multiple people knew his plan, and they could have arrested him already.
Yeah, so you feel like that could be taken out, and I think a big problem.
Superman's whole thing, like we already mentioned, of who am I, and then he just
dies.
He gets his mom and his girlfriend kidnapped, and then he dies.
Yeah. And so I feel like all these different threads that they had, for some reason, I feel like they easily could have streamlined it and gotten rid of a lot of this stuff and just gone, oh, Lex Luthor is using the destruction of Metropolis to sway the people against Superman, and Batman is kind of falling for that. He fights Superman. They fight. Lex Luthor behind the scenes is doing Doomsday, and then we have the Doomsday fight. And, Wonder Woman shows up. Because, she shows up at the end anyways, kind of, not randomly, but just out of the blue. And so I feel like doing that would have been a lot simpler, a lot easier as well. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't have had all these different plot points come together.
All in all, there's a lot of complaints, but it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I would see it again.
It's not that good, but it's good. It's essentially just a 2.5 hour, commercial for Justice League.
That sounds pretty close to what it is, yeah. But yeah, and it's 2.5 hour movie. It's very long.
Yeah, it's very long.
But I was interested the whole time. So would you see it again?
Not right away. Probably like a couple weeks, just because it's just so much happening. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh man, it feels like it's been a long time. It's only been an hour. It's like, oh, just so much has happened,
mm-hmm.
but nothing's happened. It's like
it's true.
The first half of the movie, it's like so much is happening that it feels like a lot of plot development's happening, but it's just a lot of people talking and nothing happening.
I remember when Lois Lane was captured, I thought, we're not at the fight yet, and yet so much has... I remember feeling this in Fantastic Four. It's not nearly as bad as Fantastic Four, not even close. But like at the end of Fantastic Four, I thought, are we at the fight yet? Like so much has happened.
That's the thing. There's just it's 2 hours of build up, and then when things finally start getting interesting, you're like, there's only 30 minutes left in this movie, and like, a whole lot of stuff still has to happen.
Yeah, first off, you're thinking like, oh, like we're here. That was interesting. We're here already, and also you're thinking, well, what was the last 2 hours? Like nothing. What? Why do we need that long to get here?
And there's one scene where it's like, we didn't get to see a lot of Batman fighting up until the Batman fights Superman part, and then it's Batman fighting. But there's this scene where he talks about breaking into LexCorp and getting the kryptonite that Lex Luthor has taken, and then they don't even show it. They show the aftermath where Lex Luthor's walking up, and there might be a deleted scene of the fight, but it's like, take a bunch of other stuff, show that part, because that part's probably sick.
Yeah. Yeah, there are parts that they could have easily taken out, but you feel like there was more stuff that could have spread out in the action.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. So yeah, I guess we talked a lot, around 50 minutes, talking about...
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. But I think we got our opinion across. We definitely enjoyed the movie, but there's a lot of faults that went into it in the production of it, but we enjoyed it still.
I would say it's a comic book fan service sort of thing, where you get to see Superman and Batman fight, if you can stay interested long enough.
The closest comparison I could think of is Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of weird overall as a film. Like, as a film, it's kind of like okay. It wasn't very coherent, but like in the stuff that's happening in the action, it's a fun time.
It's if I liken it to anything, it's Zack Snyder was given this movie, or he took this movie. I don't know what Zack Snyder's doing, but he was given this movie with a lot of characters, a lot of stuff they had to incorporate, like he had with Watchmen, which was a really hard story to tell because there's a lot of time jumps and stuff like that, and he did the best he could with it. I think he probably could have done better, actually.
He could, yeah, I think he could have
but he was given a very hard thing, and what he did was good enough, I'd say.
Yeah, so I guess that's it about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So that's it.
I mean, the title says it all. Dawn of Justice. It's the commercial for Justice League. That's pretty much, that should have been the title.
Remember, this was supposed to be Man of Steel 2?
Yeah.
And then it became Batman v Superman.
And then the first 15 minutes are just Batman.
Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty much.
It's pretty much Batman featuring everybody else.
Yeah.
Because not only is there a lot of Batman, but Batman's like the best part of the movie, pretty much.
In the beginning, it was supposed to be a Man of Steel 2 sequel with Batman, but it's pretty much Batman with everybody else.
I mean, it's a year late too. It was Man of Steel was supposed to come out last year or something.
I don't know. It feels like Man of Steel came out ages ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, but hopefully, with this movie, they can get a lot of movies out faster because they got this one out the way. And we are looking forward to what they have to build with these other heroes: Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, all the other ones as well. So that should be pretty exciting. Get this one out of the way and have, like Elijah said, open up better movies.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, Suicide Squad. That should be cool. Yes, that's... Oh, did you say something?
No, I'm good.
So that's it, and yeah, we hope you enjoyed our long discussion about Batman v Superman, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out.